Hi, welcome into the Bobby Carpenter Show, and got a very special guest today. We've had a number of coaches and players on, and now pleased to be joined in by the head coach for the Ohio State Buckeyes. In the middle of his summer break here, getting ready to get ramped up, or I guess the end of the summer break, Ryan. You guys are getting started here. I think next week the coaches are all back. And how's the summer, I guess, gone here over the last since we talked to you, I guess, back in, what was that, June, when you got out of camps?
Yeah, it's been going good. The guys have been working really hard this summer, and I think the biggest challenge has been the leadership and figuring out who are the guys that are going to step up. And when you look at last year's team, there's guys who are returning, like Caleb Downs and Sonny Styles, guys who have been in some leadership roles in the past, but a lot of guys who now have to step into more prominent roles in terms of leadership. And so that's been important. I feel like it's been a good couple months leading up to it, as when Mick gets to work with these guys. I mean, that's really where the team is bonded and forged together. So we know that August is going to be a huge month, and it's right around the corner.
So, coordinator for a long time now. You've been a head coach. My goodness, here it'll be 8 seasons coming up, and it flies by. And developing these teams, you talk about developing the leaders. You've got a lot of guys who've been around a long time, but maybe necessarily haven't been in that leadership forefront role. Have you leaned into more of that development process, and kind of what do you try to do to facilitate that?
Well, I think when you have somebody like Mick who's been around for so long, you use his experience as an edge. He's been around this for so long, and so you let him do his job, but you try to give feedback along the way on what you see. But really for him and his staff, I mean, they're the best in the business at what they do, and so every year you learn more and more about your team. And I think coming off of last season, we'd never stopped. I mean, once the game got over, we were back in school. We already been in school for a couple of weeks. Spring ball was here, took a little break, and on to the summer. So it's been a year-round thing for us. But we also know it's going to be a long run going into this year again. So we've already been through a long season, the new season, the 16 games. And we're making adaptations to make sure that our guys are ready for the long haul. And that is a little different than it's been in the past. But when you throw in the fact that we have such a monster game to start the season, that's different than it was last year.
One of the other things, we had Carson Hinsman and then CJ Hicks on last couple of days. In the past, talked to Cody a lot, Lathan. Everybody's got their own unique story at Ohio State. And you look at guys, like Carson and CJ, and how their roles have kind of changed and morphed. And I asked them, especially Carson, why you come to Ohio State initially, being a kid from Wisconsin. What brings you here? And CJ, an in-state guy, obviously very highly recruited. But then the other thing, in an era now, Ryan, where it's so easy to leave, that, if things aren't maybe going your way, which highly recruited guys, the roadmap is come in, play some as a freshman, start a couple years, and then, look at the NFL. Like, why do you stay when maybe it isn't going quite as smooth as you maybe envisioned it when you were 17 or 18 years old? They always pointed to the brotherhood of, the guys that are here, and that's what keeps them here. What creates that, and how do you kind of try to curate that the best way you can?
Yeah, I think it's a major edge. We do it in recruiting. We start right from the jump in recruiting. And one of the things we do on our official visits is we bring them into the stadium. We take them through the skull session. We explain to them what that is. We bring them into the stadium. We talk about all the great traditions. We talk about the past. We talk about the present, and then we talk about the future. In the past, we talk about all the great players that have played before, and the great coaches that have come before, and the great teams that have come before. And, they've set the standard. It started all the way back when Chick Harley, really forced, Ohio State to build the Ohio Stadium because they couldn't fit everybody in the old stadium. And then everything that came before, and the fact that Jesse Owens ran in Ohio Stadium, and all the great teams that have been before, and it's hallowed ground being in Ohio Stadium. And the Buckeye Grove to, the bands to, when you walk in any airport in America and you see that block O, when you hear OH, you scream I-O. Well, it's the same thing right before kickoff, when the student section says O, and then it's H, and then it's I, and then it's O. Like, that you're in for a game when you play the Buckeyes. And all these traditions that have built up over time, and the victory bell that rings 5 miles around, because back then not everybody got a chance to watch the game. So you find out if the Buckeyes won if you heard the victory bell. Like, all these things have led to the point to where we are with our program right now. And in recruiting, we sell a big part of that, because a team of the past has a future. So we talk about the past, then we talk about the present, like you said, the brotherhood. And the brotherhood right now in our culture is as strong as it's ever been. It's because of guys like you and Schlegs who have built this up. But like, making sure that guys understand that they're here for a reason. And like, when you look at last year's team and the guys that decided to come back, and like you're saying, the guys right now on our team were built into the brotherhood. It's that culture to make sure you understand you're not just coming for a paycheck. You're not just coming as a pass-through. You're coming here to leave a legacy behind. And it means a lot. It's bigger than any one person. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than you guys. It's bigger than anybody on our team. It's Buckeye, tradition. So there's that. And then, so there's the past, there's the present, and then there's the future. Like, who's going to be next? And that's why recruiting is so important nowadays, to make sure we're bringing in the right people who understand the tradition of Ohio State, because not everybody's from Ohio. Our foundation is Ohio, and it will always be Ohio, but there's so many great players across the country. We have to bring those folks in and teach them what it means and build new Buckeyes. We think about the guys that were on last year's team. You know, we had guys like Ty Hamilton and Jack and all the guys from Ohio, but we also had guys from all parts of different parts of the country who are now Buckeyes. And that Buckeye group is just continuing to grow year in and year out, not only as people leave the state to go on do different things nationally, but the more people that are coming to the city of Columbus. It's one of the biggest growing cities in the country, and they're becoming Buckeyes. So the fan base is only getting bigger, but it's our job to make sure that our recruits understand that.
All right. Sorry I was running late. And one, I got to see RJ this morning. He looked fantastic. Two, I want everybody out there to know, like, Ryan is a phenomenal coach. Day is a phenomenal husband and father, and you can tell by the way you interact with your children. I want people to know that. Now, the next question is this. You came in, you're a coordinator, you're a head coach. We've talked about working in the business, working on the business, and then you get probably the greatest picture of trust that you could ever have, and have Chip Kelly come in like, this is exactly what I want. And then now he's gone. Now Hardline is it again. What have been a couple, maybe one, maybe two, biggest growth that you have had as a head football coach over this last 6 years, moving forward with NIL, coaches, staff, continuity? What are those? What are those for you?
Well, I don't know if anybody saw the recent interview with Scotty Scheffler before the British Open.
100%.
And I watched it like 2 or 3 times. And the thing to me is, like, over these past 8 years and now as a head coach, like, once the confetti hits the ground and we win a national championship, like, it is on to the next thing. So, like, where do you find your purpose? And to me and to our staff, it has to be that you're pouring into young people. It's just like you're doing, Schlegs, every day at the Armory. Like, you're making young people and people in the city of Columbus and the state of Ohio better every day, because you're pouring into them in that place. I've been in your place. It's unbelievable. I mean, people are getting better. They're growing. So, like, at the end of the day, when you put your head on your pillow, you're helping people. Well, it's the same thing here. Like, we're helping young people reach their dreams and goals. So, like, when we're standing on the stage, it had nothing to do with me. It had everything to do with everybody else, because it took everybody. It took you guys. It took former players. It took everybody who was flying across the country. It was people who were at home, who were sending like good vibes through the TV. It was everybody that helped in recruiting. It was everybody involved, because it comes down to helping these young people reach their dreams and goals. And that's why you get into coaching. Winning championships is just the standard. Like, we have to do that. Otherwise, I got to find new coaches and new players. That's how it goes around here. And it's because of people like you guys who have set that standard, and coaches that have set that standard along the way. So we just got to live up to it. But what is the purpose at the end of the day? The purpose is to help these people reach their dreams and goals with people who also believe the same thing. Like you said, Chip Kelly, Brian Hartline, Larry Johnson, Tim Walton. Like, you start going through the list of guys that we have here, they have to believe that when they're here. If they're here just to win, it's probably not the right place for them. It's not a pass-through. It's here to leave something behind when you're done.
Devin Jordan had an event last night, Bob, and it was great to connect with former players. I mean, guys I coached with Urban, guys that are there now, Tegra Shabola, and I just said, hey, man, I loved coaching you and where he's gone and the evolution that he's had, similar to Carson. You guys are reading Chop Wood, Carry Water. What are some of the biggest takeaways? Yep, exactly. From that book, and RJ's read it. I've read it. I got my kids reading it. Bobby's got his kids reading it. What is one of the biggest nuggets that you've taken away from that book that has really permeated through the team as you go into this 2025 season? New identity, new team, hungry. What is that?
Well, I think I thought long and hard about this offseason of what we need to focus on. And when you come off of a championship, I think so much of everybody's comes off of that win, and we had our incoming freshmen and some of the transfers come in January 6th, so they were able to see the semifinals and the national championship game, and everybody focuses on that final result and what it looked like and all those things. We needed to get back to the beginning of the process and focusing on the process, and not necessarily, focusing on the result. And I think last year we did a good job of that because, we came up short in 2 games. We knew our process was right. We just had to tweak some things along the way. We knew the foundation was right. And so to me, I love that book because they're quick reads, but every single chapter in that book has a great message about focusing on what really does matter. And in today's society, it isn't always easy to do that because of all the different distractions. I would say my favorite chapter, though, is Every Inch Matters, because I believe that in all my heart. Like, every decision that we make on a day-to-day basis matters. They say, like, if you eat McDonald's today, is it really going to make a difference? Are you going to die tomorrow? No. But if you eat it every day for the next 10 years, yeah, you're going to get sick and get overweight and probably be in poor health. Every decision that we make, who we hang with, what we listen to, the decisions we make on what we put in our body, what time we go to bed at night, like all of these things add up over time. And I think for our guys, it's important for them to understand that every decision they make matters.
So last year you prepared, to play 16, 17 games, and you actually play, the full slate and make it all the way to the final win. What have you done to kind of tweak that? I mean, did you feel like the process was pretty good? Obviously it worked, but you're always kind of looking back and trying to figure out, could we have been better here, better there, find the edge? I mean, you and Notre Dame were the 2 teams that went the entire distance. Now that's going to be the regular expectation in preparing for a season. How has that kind of changed your preparation, having gone through it one time already?
Yeah, I think the difference here is, this first game right out of the gate is going to be different with a young team. We'll have a first-time quarterback in there. So we're going to have to come out of that game win or lose, with a plan on, okay, here's what we did really well in August, and here's what we need to get fixed, and then grow from there and build from there. Certainly right out of the gate, we're going to be able to figure out, sometimes it takes a while until you get into those matchup games to figure out where you are. This will give us an instant, feedback on where we are. And so what we have to do is grow and get stronger and build as the season goes on, regardless, because that's what's going to matter, is what team is playing the best at the end of the season. And I think that's exciting about this team, is because we are young, and but we also have a bunch coming back. Like, I'm really looking forward to playing in this first game, but I also am excited about the journey that we're going to go on, because if you get hot and you start to figure some things out as the season goes on, you get into the playoffs, as you guys saw, like, you can be dangerous. And so, we have to take that approach, that every game is very, very important, and compartmentalize the fact that, okay, this game, is a 1-game season, but also taking a step back and recognizing that, like, we've got to build as the season goes on. And that a big part of that is coaching, making sure that we understand after every game, what do we need to get addressed? Is it the personnel? Do we need to make changes? Do we have the right guys in the right seats? 2, is the scheme right? Like, are we doing the best to put our guys in the best position to be successful? And then the third thing is, are we coaching it well enough? And along the way, we have to be very, very critical of that, and we've got to grow. And that's a little bit of that NFL mindset of, like, building and growing as the season goes on. So, that'll be important. And then, but to go back to your question, certainly depth, as we know, is going to be very important. So we've got to continue to work through the bottom half of our roster, because at some point we're going to need them to play.
Hey, this is a two-part side nugget, Coach.
Okay.
As the juice bringer, as the one that's running the show, I think sometimes, and I like to correlate what you do, obviously, business, you're the CEO of Ohio State football. How vital is it to have the mix and your other coaches that help bring the juice to you, and the Mark Pantonis of the world, how important is it to have those type of men in the building and how you select them? And also, how do you balance everything that you do pouring into the young people that you're responsible for at Ohio State while also being able to pour into Nina and your children?
Yeah, I think the first part.
That's real, man. That's real.
Was no question. Well, I'm going to go back. I'll say the second part, like, how do you do that part of it? I learned, maybe you guys have heard me say this, but now I believe in it all my heart. And Clint Bruce is the one that kind of brought it to me in the Navy SEALs, is that balance is not an equal distribution of time and energy. It's investing in your faith, your family, and your friends, because they're going to be there when hard times come. So your faith better be right, your family better be right, and your friends better be right, because they're the ones you're going to lean on. You're not going to have time to go play, 20 rounds of golf or go bowling or go out to, you're just not doing that. I mean, when you're coaching, you're coaching. When you're home, you're home. Now, it doesn't always work that way. You got to pick up the phone when recruits are there, but like you got to do it. And that's a sacrifice you make as a coach. So I think that, to me, is how you do that the best you can. The second part of that is making sure that they're in the building. I mean, yesterday I had my entire family in the building for 4 hours in July. The girls were playing hoop over here. RJ was getting recovery, and doing different things. And like Nina stopped by. Like, to me, it's important. That's a college experience, is to have family come and be a part of it, be around the kids, be around the players, be around upstairs. My girls were up in the dining hall, hanging out with some of the cooks. And I mean, that's to me is part of this process that you got to make sure they get themselves involved with. But in terms of the supporting cast, to me, that's everything. You got no chance if you don't have a great supporting cast, people putting the right people in the right seats and allowing them to do their job and giving them ownership. If they don't feel like they're getting enough direction from me, then I have to step up. But to me, I want people that don't need the direction. Like, I want people that go, who are just lions, who just feed the lions, man. Like, they just find ways to bring value every single day. They don't know what the problem is, but they're going to go in that day and figure it out. And, I think that's important to have those type of people around me, because that's kind of the way that I lead. Certainly going to give direction, going to give vision, but man, we need go-getters. We need guys who problem solve on a daily basis and want to be great and have ownership.
So, you got Big Ten Media Days coming up next week. Figure we'd give you an obligatory quarterback question to get you warmed up for that, Coach. Just
sure,
hey, every rep's a game rep. So
that's right.
You're just balancing this over your tenure here. You've had a number of times going in with a new starter, guys going back and forth. You've balanced it kind of different ways. It feels like this year, with Lincoln being here a couple of years, Julian just coming in, that there really isn't a guy with, significantly more experience on the field, maybe a little more in the program, kind of different players, but not radically. Just how to balance that through training camp with, like you said earlier, there is no warm-up games this year. Like, you're jumping right into the fire at noon against Texas. So trying to balance that competition to make sure you get the right guy, but also get the right guy soon enough to allow, to build around them and get confidence with the team.
Yeah. I would say that there's times where I've gone into this part of the season where I feel like I know or have a feeling on where it's going. I don't right now. I like both of our guys. I think Tavian's still, again, a third right now, and he's got to grow, and I think he's got a really bright future ahead of him. But he needs, this preseason. He needs, the first half of the season to grow. But Julian and Lincoln both have done some really good things here in the offseason. They're getting stronger. Talking to Mick, there's been really good leadership. The ball's coming out of their hand good right now. But we got to go play football. And that's to me, like, obviously the wild card in all of this. When it's 4th and 2, are we going to get, 3 yards? Getting guys into, to play well once we get in the red zone, like making the throws that we need to make in the red area, making decisions on when to throw the ball away, taking care of the football, maybe taking a sack when, we're not going to force the ball into coverage, so that, we might have to punt, as hard as that is, play great defense, get the ball back and go score. Like, that to me is how you win games, is making great decisions. 3rd down, 2-minute. And so you just don't know until you get on the field and play. I thought there was some really good growth this spring. But we'll see. We'll see where this thing goes. And like we said, we'll get some really good feedback after the first one.
and then Bob gets to lead me with this one, which is great because I'm excited. So you had a D coordinator, national champion D coordinator, leaves, goes to a rival, maybe a rival, just another Big Ten opponent. And then you bring in Matt Patricia. A little bit about what went into hiring Matty P And again, it's so great for me and Bob because we go out there and we hear a defense. We already know what it is. But how excited are you for you to see how he is able to utilize this new young talent that we have on defense and what that's going to be in the 2025 season?
They're fired up.
Yeah.
When we hired him, I was fired up, but I'm more fired up now because I've seen him talk to the guys, talk to recruits, build relationships, and then they're just taking ownership of this defense. I mean, when they go out there, there's just a certain level of confidence when they break that huddle, when they're communicating. I mean, they're moving fast. Now we got to get on the field and we got to do it. But I'm really excited about it. And Matt has brought a lot of great experience to the table. You know, not just the fact that he's a defensive coordinator, he was an offensive coordinator, he was a GM. So now in the new age of what we're doing with the salary cap, he brings in that experience. He's been a head coach, he's been a defensive coordinator at the highest level. He's played long seasons, he's been around great players. And I think one of the best things that he's done over his career is put guys in position to be successful. And he certainly did that at the Patriots. So we have some really good weapons over there. And I'm really fired up to see, you know, not only how it looks in the first game, but how it grows as the season goes on. And he's been a great asset so far to our program. So excited about that. And I think everybody on the defensive side would tell you that, you know, when you get around our defensive coaches, because that's the other thing. He had to walk into a situation where he was a new guy in the room. And that's not easy to do, but he's done it well. And I think all those guys are bought in, and James, Larry, Tim, Matt. I mean, and I think Tim and him are working together really well too, of things that we've done in the past, which, you know, we're going to keep a lot of what we've done in the past, but then there'll be tweaks along the way. They're going to be great.
It's been pretty awesome to watch those guys work. And, you know, Matty P, I think people saw him in Detroit and like at the podium, and, you know, being a head coach can be rough at times, but I mean, he is the most collaborative guy I've ever been around, and watching him recruit and communicate with players has been truly tremendous. Coach, I'm going to get you out here on this. I did ask Julian, saying that you talk about the culture. You know, a kid from Carlsbad, I asked him before he left where he was going for their break. So he was going back home to surf. Said there was a famous Ohio State quarterback who used to do some surfing named Johnny Utah. You ever heard of him? And he was able to pull out Point Break and Keanu Reeves. So I said, all right,
okay,
you know enough about the tradition. You've got enough of it here. Good for you. We appreciate it, Coach. I know you're really busy. You got a lot going on. Give our best to Nina and the kids, and we'll catch up again soon.
Thanks, fellas. Go Bucks.
See you, brother. Go Bucks.
Great Ryan Day right there helping us out. We'll react to that here coming up more on the Bobby Carpenter Show after this.
Creative, experience, results. That's what drives growth. That's what builds brands. That's Lake Spur Marketing, a full-service agency built on trust, strategy, and performance, not fluff. From bold strategies to flawless execution, every campaign is rooted in smart planning and driven by clear goals. We don't chase clicks. We build partnerships. We show up, dig in, and deliver every single time. Lake Spur Marketing. The proof is in our partners.
All right, welcome back into the Bobby Carpenter Show, and I want to tell you about our friend Schlegs over at Export. Attention parents and athletes, protect what matters most with Export mouthguards, trusted by professional athletes and designed by NHL team dentists. Export mouthguards are scientifically tested to help absorb those high-impact hits, protecting both your teeth and your brain. Export mouthguards feature 3 layers of advanced protection, including a patented use of carbon fiber. They 3D print that bad boy to your grill for more protection, better performance, max comfort, and clear communication, so you can focus on your game, not on your gear. Don't take chances with your safety. Go to exportguards.com/Bobby to save 15% on your order. Export, protect what matters most. Sorry, folks. I know everybody in the chat, some people, we were a little earlier today. We've got Schlegs. He's got a bunch of stuff going on. I had some stuff going on. And then trying to triangulate the most important piece of the show today, which was the gentleman that was just on there, of when it could work and when we could kind of slide it in. And so thankfully, Ryan was gracious enough to join us. A lot of great nuggets in there. I was glad he referenced this. So I just finished at Schlegs yesterday, Chopwood Carry Water. And so this is what the guys are reading. And I would encourage anybody. It's Joshua Metcalf. All kinds of little nuggets. It's like 32, 30, 33.
I remember audio book on the mower, but it was fantastic.
It's like 33 2 to 3 page chapters. And
Yep.
my son's through chapter 12. I brought 3 of them. Somehow now, Schlegs, I can only find 1 in our house. I don't know where the other ones went. But I went through, I've got it like highlighted up. I started on 1 book, and then I think I gave that to one of the kids. So I've like highlighted it from like chapter 12 on that I've read over the last 3 or 4 days. And the guys read like a chapter a day, and then they go present and talk about it. And that's how you build that leadership, you build that brotherhood, and able to do some of the same things. And so it's great to have Ryan on, right after CJ and Carson and talking about that. And just the most important question, like, why do you stay? What is the reason that makes this place different when maybe you could go get paid more somewhere else or play more with certainty and all those things? I think you see why right there, Schlegs, when you hear him talk and you hear the conviction. This is a guy that came to Ohio State as a first-time head coach. That's the first time that's been the case in 70 years, and trying to kind of learn and navigate that, and like I think finding his footing that a couple years in, and now really hitting his stride here. Very, very lucky to have Ryan with just his connection, and the fact he's not an Ohio guy. He's from New Hampshire, but he embraces everything about the state with the past, the present, the future, and he's figured out how to recruit, how to build these guys, and like how to get the right guys here. That was the most important thing, because it's much easier to handle those problems if you're dealing with the right type of people, as opposed to try to convincing the wrong type of people to stay.
Well, I'm not an Ohio guy. I'm an Ohio boy now. I mean, David Allen Coast song style. I'm from Texas, right? And you get in. It was funny. I was at that Devin Jordan event last night, fundraiser, and somebody asked me, like, there was the band that was there, the best damn band in the land was there playing. And somebody was like, what? Like, does that get you juiced up? And I was like, I'll be honest with you. Every time I hear that and I hear the band play or something that reminds you of the so many opportunities that I was fortunate enough to go run out of the tunnel and play in front of 105,000 people and listen to that band. Like, I go back to the fact that I'm blessed. And then my relationships with all of the other former players and current players that were there supporting a former player. And that's what it is. And Brian's embraced that and is all about it. And then the other thing about his family, and that's what he brought up, is what, and I think hopefully what everybody took away from this is you have somebody that is confident in who they are and what their mission is. And their mission is and Ryan's mission, my mission, is to serve people. And in Ohio State, it is to serve the young people that parents allow their children to go to. That's what he does on a daily basis. He is fanatical about supporting and growing and pouring into young people. And everybody on my staff has the same mindset, because if that is not your why, then this business will beat you down. And I love his differentiation of, when I am at work doing this, I am pouring into them. And I love what he said about that time is not equally distributed, but you can go in there and be all dad, all husband, all coach in those things. And it doesn't mean that they all don't stop and they sometimes collide together, but I love the way that he's done it. And you can see it in his family when you interact with him. So grateful that you have a head football coach that is able to come on a podcast with two former dudes that played 20 years ago and to give us some insight. And I'm also very grateful that is the man that is representing the university in which I played for and you played for.
Oh, yeah. I had a meeting with Ross earlier today, just trying to cram us in. That's why I was like, man, I really appreciate it, because he's very accommodating. He loves the school, loves the former guys. And, Schlegs, I know he cares a lot about you. It's funny because he talked about guys that are out there, guys that are out there killing lions. And I read this yesterday, and as I finished like the last 5 or 6 chapters, but Schlegs talking about Benaniah, David's chief bodyguard, killing the lion. Like,
oh, yeah.
Those are the dudes that you want on your back. And so that's the stuff that they're like learning about and going through this, just surrendering to the process. Like, the outcome will always be the outcome. It's going to take care of itself, good or bad. And I was having this conversation today on Morning Juice with my guy Thidoff, and he was asking. We started getting into this conversation about Bill Belichick, Bill Parcells, their relationship, and the two Bills documentary on the E60, and how they were able to kind of reconcile and come back together. And I go, that was, I think, as therapeutic for both of them as it was for everybody watching it. And he asked, he's like, is there ever anybody like personally or even professionally that is, you felt like wronged you? I go, during my career, I used to I had a book, like a mental list of like all the people that coaches or front office or whatever it was that I felt like kind of, shortchanged me. And there was one guy in particular, and I didn't want to divulge the name. I go, but you know what? I ended up talking to him a couple years later in a way that you can kind of only apologize as a coach or for maybe making a bad decision, something that they regretted doing with regard to my career. And it hurt kind of both of us. But I told him I'd kind of buried it before that unearthed it a little. And I guess it kind of maybe healed it. But the reality is I go, that was just all part of the story and part of the journey. And so that's the stuff that you've got to understand. And so that team last year, like this is a new team, new year, but those guys last year had been through, 4-year slog. And, the loss at the end of the season was tough, but that's part of the journey. It's part of the story. And so for every great hero, as they talk about in the book, like Jackie Chan pointed out, all of these people, you need adversity. Like no great hero just goes and wins. Like there's always the dark parts, the dark moments, the tough times that they have to endure. And so that's what makes a great, great story. All right, go ahead.
Are you long? Are you long on that? Because
I'm gonna let you to react to that.
I'll give a nugget. All right, buddy.
We're going to talk a little bit about JJ as well. Here coming up next on the Bobby Carpenter Show. All right, Schlegs, give us some.
No, what you just said right there. I mean, sometimes we need our lenses adjusted, right? And I'm going through some stuff right now. Chaos, moving family, got like I got so much stuff, guys. I can't even articulate it. But here's the deal: it's like you go back and you get in the Word and you go to James 1:2-4. It's like consider it pure joy whether you face trials of many kinds, because knowing the testing of your faith produces perseverance, and let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. And that goes into this day-to-day thing, man. Like, I am joyful that I'm going through hard things, right? Like, hey, you know what? I appreciate the fact that I can withstand this test. And it goes back to even what Carson said and why they're reading that book and going back to the basics and the foundation. Right? The end goal, obviously the goal is a national championship, but you can't attain a national championship if you don't go win the day in the strength and conditioning and the sprinting in the weight room or at practice and the recovery. There was a great thing I saw. Somebody was like, hey, you want to run, a 200-mile race. It's not, I'm going to go run 200 miles because about 75 miles, you're going to start hurting. It's like, no, I'm going to go get this next 25. Well, I'm going to go to get this next 5, and I'm going to go get the next 5. All right, it's time for me to sleep. I'm going to rest up, and I'm going to go get the next 5. It's that, right? Greatness is the accumulation of great days. Stack it vertical, count sideways, that type of mindset. And that's what he's doing. And I hope you guys understand when we try to allude this to you, it's not just, we're just not talking Ohio State football. I'm a coach, right? And in sales year, always be closing. I'm always be coaching. Because the great coaches are the ones, not white noise, but can strategically go in there and say, okay, this is a technique issue. I'm going to coach it. Hey, this is an encouragement issue. Or, hey, way to strain. Or I know this guy is battling through something, right? Way to grind through that. I know you're sick. Side convo. You just, boom, not even 1%, but 0.01% of 1%. Every single day. And that's what he's doing on a daily basis here at Ohio State. And it's the same thing in the career, man. all the trials, all the tribulations, all the experiences that we've had in our life, Bob. I'm going to talk to a young man today who transferred into a high school who could be that guy. Guess what? Go eat, man. I was the same way. I'm going to help him through my experiences to help elevate him into these. He just needs that word of encouragement and affirmation. But we go through those things, not so we can keep them to ourselves, but so we can help others grow and achieve their max capacity. Again, why I love being a Buckeye, why I love doing this show with you. And grateful, man. Grateful.
All right. Well, I'm going to tell you about our friends over at Backer.
Premium.
Get to our guy, JJ Smith, and some of the things he was saying about this offense, but it's a premium Buckeye brand for premium Buckeye fans. It's absolutely tremendous. BCKR.com. I actually had my rain jacket on yesterday. I was out at my kids' swim meet. You had that downpour come on, slid that bad boy on there, kept me dry and feeling good, feeling warm. They've got cold gear. They've got wind gear. It's BCKR.com. Portion of the proceeds go back to Ohio State student athletes for funding NIL. They do a great job with it, folks. They've got some other teams, if you know some people that want to get into that as well. But it's unbelievable gear with all of the features that you're accustomed to having. Use promo code all caps BOBBY at checkout for free expedited shipping. Again, that's Backer, BCKR.com. Headlines coming up next.
Creative, experience, results. That's what drives growth. That's what builds brands. That's Lake Spur Marketing, a full-service agency built on trust, strategy, and performance, not fluff. From bold strategies to flawless execution, every campaign is rooted in smart planning and driven by clear goals. We don't chase clicks. We build partnerships. We show up, dig in, and deliver every single time. Lake Spur Marketing. The proof is in our partners.
All right, welcome back in the Bobby Carpenter Show. We have our headlines brought to you by our friends over at Lake Spur. If you're looking to scale your marketing, let the Lake Spur team be your trusted marketing agency. They've got a broad range of experience regardless of industry. They can help you out. Lake Spur prides themselves on building those partnerships that we always talk to you about. They're confident they will deliver the results. More importantly, they're going to develop their great relationships with their clients. They allow you to work on the business while they help grow the business. Lake Spur Marketing, the proof is in their partners. Visit lakespurmarketing.com today. All right, Schlegs, our headlines here. We've been teasing this for about the last 10 minutes. Our guy, JJ Smith, coming out talking about putting up a show. Pat, if you can throw that up there and we can get to the audio of him talking it, give us a little click through, and we'll listen to it straight from the horse's mouth. Just want to click past. Oh, hang on the audio. We're still working. Pat's going to get this thing cranking for us, but it's an unbelievable little piece of him. And it's funny, Shakes, because been around in the weight room. People are like, oh, is this guy talking like it? JJ doesn't say anything. Like, I don't hear him ever really talk. He just works. Just works in silence. But he said, we're definitely going to put on a show. A lot of people have been doubting us, so I can't wait to prove a lot of people wrong this year. And I don't know, many people have been doubting him. It's kind of like Michael Jordan, Tom Brady. These guys are on another level when it comes to being able to convince themselves of where they're at. So Pat, click on through and we'll get it rolling.
Coach Mig, we put in the workouts this year was harder than last year, I should say. They've been pushing us hard, because it's a new team. Everybody got new roles and stuff like that. But I just can't wait till the season starts. We definitely go put on a show. A lot of people have been doubting us. I've been seeing on Twitter and social media. So I can't wait to prove a lot of people wrong this year.
What's amazing is that's like the Kobe Bryant. No one's doubting Ohio State, really. They say you got a lot of new starters, new quarterback, but that's the mentality you have to have. They're going to be no worse than probably third, maybe fourth in the AP poll to start the season, maybe second. It could be first. I don't know, Schlegs, but that's the mentality those guys have is, hey, you think we might not be as good as last year? We've got some unproven guys. Let's go grind. Let's go prove it.
Did you see the size of his neck?
Yeah.
Okay. I just listen, guys, man. Here's the thing, and I think it was CJ that said it. You have a bunch of guys that are hungry, and you're absolutely right. It's not necessarily that they're doubting JJ Smith. Honestly, he's probably the face of college football, to be quite honest with you. You're not doubting him and what he can do. It's the collective of you lost so many guys. And sometimes that doubt is in, and it's not them doubting it, but it's them wanting to show that we could lose all of these draft picks and still come out and be a better version of that unbelievable version of 2024. And so it's not a doubting. It's we want to prove that we are there. And so I hope you guys caught what he said. These workouts were harder. Not every year is the same type of workout, guys. Like, you have teams that are veteran. There's certain things in there that we got to get out, whether it's the older guys, they played a lot of ball. They come out in a long season. We don't have as many guys that up. They're still really, really good. But then now a lot of that leadership is left. And what do we got to do? And what are the things that we put in place as a coach to extrapolate the greatness and the toughness from those guys? Therefore, it feels as though it's harder, but from a physiological standpoint, it is not. It honestly is probably mentally tougher. And that is exactly what this team needs. And now they're like, we just can't wait to get out and show our work and that the work works. And that's what it is. And you're right, Bob. That's an elite mindset.
I think you're talking the Juicy J mindset. Every time you come out, I know I'm going to show out. And that's where they're at. Bring the dough out. Bring it all out. I mean,
bring it all out, baby.
Bring it all out. Whatever it takes. All right, Schlegs. Folks, you're going to get a real treat today. You're going to get Schlegs in the wild. I've already handled almost all the breaks for him, got all the reads in. He's going to have to do Tailgate Talk where he just gets to talk to you, answer your questions, and then get his parting nuggets as I'm going to dip on out of here. And so stay locked in here. Stay tuned in, kids, Bobby.
That's crazy.
That's the Bobby Carver Show.
Creative, experience, results. That's what drives growth. That's what builds brands. That's Lake Spur Marketing, a full-service agency built on trust, strategy, and performance, not fluff. From bold strategies to flawless execution, every campaign is rooted in smart planning and driven by clear goals. We don't chase clicks. We build partnerships. We show up, dig in, and deliver every single time. Lake Spur Marketing. The proof is in our partners.
Boom, welcome to the Bobby Carpenter Show. And just like Lincoln Hawk, I put the hat backwards because I get to end it. Tailgate Talk, real truck, bring your truck to life. Mine is, I drive a diesel, it rolls coal, 44. But I don't have the balls hanging off my trailer hitch, which I think is inappropriate. But I do got a really good trailer hitch, by the way, multi-ball. Anyways, I digress. First question, ESPN Talking Heads saying that Ohio State has no chance against Arch. And hey, Pat, our producer, make sure you put in there when I got a break for closing thoughts, because I have no clue. But I'm going to tell you about this. You're coming to the shoe. You're going against a different defense. And yes, there's going to be some things that are similar. Texas right now, just so everybody knows, what are they doing? They're going back. They're looking at New England defense. They're looking at Matty P's defense from Detroit. They're looking at kind of what Ohio State did last year in that national championship game, what worked, what didn't, who they have coming back, the questions that they have. I'm going to tell you this, man, and this is real talk. Matty P is going to have those guys right, and you're going to see multiple fronts, multiple looks, because you also got to remember you have technically a first-year starter. Did Arch Manning start before at Texas? Yes. Did he start against Ohio State on the road to be the opener? The answer is no. And that's what you're going to see. And again, what do you want to do defensively, right? Well, offenses, they want you to be able to communicate. They're going to set a front. They're going to reload the front. They're going to motion because they want you to communicate 3 times. What can you do defensively? You change up the looks. It messes with the blocking scheme. Bring pressure. Who's coming? Who's the Mike? Hey, man, if Veli's the Mike and he's now wearing number 8, I think that's what he is. He used to be 20, and all of a sudden he's lined up outside. Who's the freaking Mike? I don't know. Make a judgment call. And that's going to happen game 1 at 12 in the shoe. All right, the shoe's going to have to bring Schleg's all gas, no brakes mentality. I'm actually wearing that shirt today. Boom, Jailhouse Strong, to make sure that Arch can't hear a thing inside the shoe. And there was actually a great thing from the Indiana guy of saying how loud the shoe was. And I believe that was a noon game too. I mean, we got a bunch of nooners, and we don't like them in this regard. But I tell you what, it's going to be one of those things in that game, and why I'm excited. Somebody put in the chat 44 days, Zach Boren style, taking out the trash. I'm excited to see Buckeye fans at that game. Right now in the Schlegel household, I got 2 tickets because I donate the other ones to charity. I'm like, who's the kid I'm bringing to that game? You know, probably going to be my daughter because she's going to Ohio State. I just wanted to give her the fan experience, but they're going to have to fight for it. I don't know what kind of Hunger Games I'm going to do to make sure that happens, but it's going to be fantastic. And I love what Coach said right now. And Bobby brought up a great point, and we will hear about it, throughout camp. You got a quarterback battle. He feels really good about both. When is that going to happen? I guarantee you there is a line of demarcation to where you know that I need to make this stance predicated upon the fact that we're playing Texas week 1, that I got to have that starter ready. So as a coach, what do? What are the situations and things that I need to see through X amount of days at camp, weeks at camp, to validate that is that guy? I got to submerge them in there and see who is the one that is able to handle that the most, the best. And then from that, I got to plant the flag and I got to go because we got Texas coming to town. Last one. How did Texas play defense on JJ last year, and how will it be different this year? Well, now you got me thinking back because I can't even recollect that far. That was the game I think they bracketed him a lot. And if I'm not mistaken, Carnell had a really big game. And this is even no disrespect to G or Kaz, but Max is a different type of player. Brandis now in the slot is different. Seeing how what Texas is going to do from a high safety, if they want to hang one high over him, what is that going to free up over the middle? If they're going to say JJ is not beating us, and that's what offenses want to do. Defenses are going to say, hey, we're going to take away the guy that we feel can beat us the most, whether it's a run game or the passing game. If they want to say, hey, we want to take away JJ, well, I'll tell you this, I feel very confident in our offensive line right now and us being able to run the ball with the running backs that we have in the stable. But if you want to do that in a passing set, have a little bit of a lighter box. We're going to run the football. Oh, you got to put a guy in, but you still want to double that guy? Now I got 1v1s. I'm going to take those 3 guys 1v1 if you bracket JJ, that they're going to win. And you're just going to continue to do that over and over and over. You're going to chew up clock. Defense is going to go out there. And the number one thing in this game, guys, is going to be stop the run and affect Arch Manning. Like, that's it. Hit him hard, hit him often. All right. Parting thoughts. Nick. Oh, yes. Hey, listen, we got to do parting thoughts. See you in a second. Bye, guys. Boom. Welcome to the Bobby Carpenter Show. Parting thoughts. Pat, how long do I have? 30 seconds? Pat, put it up. I don't know. This happened on the X machine, and it came up, every virus on earth is beaten with nicotine. I saw this. I shared in the group chat. I'm going to have to go and research it. It could be a good thing that I can now tell my wife, are you serious? Look what this does. Now, I'm real with you guys. I ain't ever sick. I hydrate. I bend my knees. I eat heavy iron, and I do that. We'll see. But it was a funny side nugget. Hey, catch us tomorrow. I don't know what time we're going to be on, but when we're on, it's on. Bobby Carpenter Show. Have a great day. Attack and dominate.